So I was in this mastermind and I had someone, this is 10 years ago, come up to me and say, so Jeff, we've known each other for a long time. So how did all of a sudden you become the launch guy? Well, I was like, well, you really haven't been paying attention very closely, have you? The reality is that I figured out how to do these launches. I started my first online business in 1996. Did the first launch in early 1997. Just started iterating over and over and over, and gradually got better and better and better and better and better. Then in 2005, I came out with the first version of Product Launch Formula, and then an interesting thing happened that I didn't necessarily see coming. And there was a quantum leap in my knowledge, in the formula, in the methodology, in the tactics, in the strategy, just leapt forward 2005, 2006, 2007. It was an unbelievable explosion of knowledge, of wisdom, of results. And so where did they come from? How did it all of a sudden, I've been doing this for 8 years and getting incrementally better, and then just a quantum leap forward. How did that happen? It's because I had all kinds of students that took my work and they were using my work out in the world, and they were gradually starting to adapt things and add things. And then they would come back and report to me. And I went from the person who knew 10% more than everyone about launches to the person who knew 10 times more than everyone about launches, because I built this community who was coming back to me and sharing that knowledge. It's just it's an amazing thing when you lean in and you build that community with your people, and they start to get results, and then they report those results back to you. Then it's the way you get just quantum leaps in your knowledge and your skills and your methods. And so it's something I leaned into. That's why I do so many case studies. I've done certainly dozens, probably hundreds of case studies over the years, and I've been doing them since 2005. It's been crazy. In fact, a few years ago, I created this event called the Launch Con, and it was a 3-day live in-person conference where it was nothing but my students teaching their latest learnings. It was a pretty cool place to be. And we go really deep. Last week I talked about debriefs and how debriefs are such a big part of our growth process for my team. Well, we also do debriefs for our students. Everyone in our launch club, when they do a launch, they get a one-on-one call with one of our coaches to debrief the launch, to figure out what worked, what could have been done better, what were the leverage points, how were their metrics, and that's the place where we learn from them about their latest findings. And so we did that LaunchCon event. I think we did it for about 4 years, and then it got shut down by COVID because it was 1,000 person in-person event. Can't do those anymore. But last year we had a bit of an innovation, and we created something we called the Launch Lab. And the Launch Lab was just me reporting on some of the biggest trends, the latest trends. We did almost 200 debriefs last year of real live launches in every market you can imagine all around the world. So we're getting all this data. We've got this internal spreadsheet that just pages and pages of all this data of the latest. And that's what we share in the Launch Lab. I'm going to be doing that in a couple of weeks. But this is what, and it's going to be free. So watch your email. I'll send you an email telling you about it. You can register for free, and it's going to be super cool. But that's the Launch Lab. But the thing to remember is that when you create that interactive process, when you're coaching, whatever you're teaching, when you're working with people, you always want to have, I think you should always have some live element of coaching, because that's where you start to get that feedback from your people on what's working for them. What areas of your teaching are particularly moving the needle? And this is how you get, instead of getting incrementally better, take those huge leaps forward and have quantum growth in your teaching, your training, your skills. So yeah, watch for that email on the Launch Lab. It's going to be cool. It's coming up. And let's go get them this week.